Hello. Today we're going to be looking at John chapter 18, and there are several things that just stuck out to me when I was reading through this chapter. The first is when the chapter starts out. Judas and the soldiers went to the garden to find Jesus and arrest him, and when they asked, or Jesus asked them, "Who are you looking for?" And they said, "We're looking for Jesus of Nazareth." Jesus answered, "I am he." And I don't know if you've noticed this before, but when Jesus said that, the soldiers they fell to the ground. And if you remember, the great I am was the name, and that's how God showed himself or introduced himself to Moses way back in the Old Testament, and has always been a name for God, the great I am. And so when Jesus says I am he, that those were very, very powerful words, so powerful that they caused the soldiers just to fall to the ground and not be able to even do anything. So I love that. Just another point of showing us that Jesus and God are one and the same. And I also noticed that the words I am are used several times in the book of John, when Jesus says I am the bread of life, and just different things that he said throughout the book of John. The next thing that really struck out to me is I'm focused more on Peter, because I so identify with Peter. Peter was so passionate, and yet then he did some of the dumbest things, and I feel like sometimes I'm just so passionate for Christ, and then I turn around and do something so stupid. And so Peter, I truly relate to him. But in the first part there in the garden, when they talk about arresting Jesus, Peter picks up his sword and cuts off the ear of one of the soldiers. He was so passionate that he was not going to let them take Jesus. And Jesus restored that soldier's ear and actually got on to Peter and said, "Hey, you don't want me to do what I'm meant to do? This is what I'm supposed to do, so back off." And then in the very next part of the chapter, in the very next verses, Peter denies Christ 3 times. And Jesus had already predicted that and told him, before the rooster crows, you're going to deny me 3 times. And I'm sure Peter was like, "No, I won't do that. I mean, I love you so much, I'm willing to kill these other soldiers for trying to hurt you." And so when I can just imagine how Peter must have felt whenever that rooster crowed, just the shame that he must have felt, and knowing that he had done just exactly what Jesus said he was going to do. But I also think that Jesus, in the next few verses, or the next few chapters, you're going to see that Jesus really reached out to Peter and took the initiative to restore that relationship. And that just reminds me so much of me. Sometimes I'm so passionate about Christ, and I just want to tell everybody. And then at other times, it's like I don't even know him. And but this chapter just gives me so much hope, because Jesus knew that Peter was going to do these things, and yet he still chose him. And Peter went on to be one of the greatest leaders of the New Testament church. And I just want to encourage all of us, myself included, that when we fall away, or we do things that are not very Christ-like, to just remember that Jesus is always, always pursuing that relationship with us. And it's up to us to make that choice to get that relationship right. And, that is always my desire, and my desire for all of us is that we will, when we do things that we know we shouldn't do, and Christ starts tugging at our heart, that we will listen and make it right. Because as long as we have breath in us, we have the opportunity to have that relationship with Christ. And that's what I pray for all of us, is that we will always remember how much Jesus loves us and pursues us. And it's our choice whether we're going to live for him or not. So I just pray that we all make that choice to be the people that he wants us to be. Have a great day.